Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Movie Melee. We got another exciting match for you today in round number 2 of the tournament. We got Joseph Olivas going up against Cameron Holzmann. Joseph, we saw make his return earlier in round 1 and had, I think, the craziest call out of round number 1, calling out former double champion David Nishimoto because it was his last defeat coming into this season. And then he avenged it in epic fashion in that match, showing zero signs of rust, to be honest. And then he came back in round number 2 and followed it up with an equally as crazy call out with Cameron Holzmann, who is another fantastic competitor in his own right. Definitely, I think, one of the scariest players remaining in this tournament. So it'll be interesting to see if this will be his opportunity to, finally make it to that singles title match, because it's one that he's been circling for a while. I think he definitely has a shot because, obviously Joseph's a great competitor, but we've seen what Holzmann can do. He's pulled off some fantastic victories himself. So I'm very excited to see this match. I think this is truly anyone's game. So we'll get right now we will get right into the pre-match interviews, starting with our lower-ranked competitor for this evening, Cameron Holzmann. Cameron, you're back. I believe you beat Matthew Chen in round number 1. Solid.
That would be true.
Yes. Solid match there. Now you're facing Joseph Olivas. I don't think you've ever faced him in singles before, have you?
I have not. And I would have liked to keep it that way, but I was called out by Joseph for apparently being the co-host of a match, which I did not write, and I was not involved in the playing of, that he lost to Kaleb Koho, and somehow that's my fault, and now I have to pay for it, and I don't understand it, and I don't like it. Why you gotta do this to me, Joseph? I wanted to make it at least 2 rounds, but in all seriousness, Joseph is a great competitor, but also is very scary. But I'm going to give it my all. And you know what? If Koho can beat Joseph in another league, I can do it here, I think.
All right. Sounds good. Well, best of luck to you. We will now bring in your competitor for this evening, Joseph Olivas. Joseph, like I said, you're fresh off a dominant victory over David Nishimoto. Now you're going up against Cameron Holzmann, who, as Cameron just said, you guys have surprisingly never faced each other, despite both being in the league for a very long time. Thoughts on your opponent today?
So I was writing down some thoughts because I have some things to say after some things that happened over the past 2 weeks for me. So Cody was bringing this up earlier for me. This seems like a revenge tour of sorts because I was going up against David for his last beating me, and now I want to play Holtzmann because I was in the match that I lost, and it was the only one where Boatman had a co-host, so that's why I'm upset. I'm just sorry. But also, I wanted to play Holtzmann because he scares me, and I had a competitive mindset in challenging David, and I felt like it was overshadowing me, clouding my mind, that I didn't realize that Will Cohen was one of the challengers I could have challenged, and I thought that I was going to play him if I got to the end of the tournament. So that was on me. I didn't realize that he would have been challenged by somebody else, like Jeremy Adams, so Jeremy Adams will be there. That's okay. I realized after getting a bite/sting from an arachnid a couple of weeks ago that put me in the hospital that you need to have fun with games. And I hope I can still have fun, but be competitive. So Holtzmann is going to help me be competitive. But I also wanted Holtzmann to play me because I don't want to be so confident in myself about having a pushover match. So it's a little bit complicated, but I hope the match goes well for myself more than Holtzmann. But I also respect Holtzmann for being the epic competitor that he is. He has one of the most insane accuracy levels in the singles league. So.
All right. Wow, that was very well.
My understanding is that Joseph got bit by a spider, and now I'm playing Madam Web of trivia. It's going to suck.
All right. Well, good luck to you too, Joseph. We will now get into round number 1, which will work like this. It is the whiteboard round or notebook round, whatever you want to call it. Basically, each competitor will get 8 questions, 8 different categories of movie trivia, which they will answer individually on their different writing apparatuses. If they get all 8 questions right, they will be asked a bonus question. also worth 1 point. They have 3 repeats, 1 challenge to use for the entirety of the match. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Then your first question in round number 1 will come in the category of directors. Who directed Bonfire of the Vanities? Someone backstage says most profound pregame interview ever, probably. Yeah, it was very eloquent. I liked it. I like the delivery of it. It almost sounded like a YouTuber apology. It was good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. We'll start with Joseph.
I once told this to somebody as the movie with Bruce Willis and Tom Hanks, Brian De Palma.
And Cameron?
I wrote Peter Weir.
Brian De Palma is correct. So that Joseph takes the 1-0 lead. So we now get into your next question in the category of crime. Johnny Depp plays an undercover FBI agent in what 90s crime film? Oh, another person in the chat says, now we need Joseph to make shitty energy drinks for kids. I get it now. That took me a second. Good job, random commenter. Suspense. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. We'll go to Cameron first.
Donnie Brasco.
And Joseph?
Donnie Brasco.
Both are correct. 2-1 as we now get into your next question in the category of drama. Who plays Mikey in Mikey and Nikki? A classic coin flip question here.
Yep.
Not going to say what either sides of those coin are because I am a somewhat okay host. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. We'll go to Joseph.
Peter Falk.
And Cameron?
I also said Peter Falk.
And you're both correct. Good job. Your next question will come in the category of Oscars.
Mhm.
What film won Best Original Screenplay for films released in 2004? This is my sorry for 2004. That is a song that I have heard on a couple of occasions, but never front to back. That is banter for this question. Good job, guys. We did it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. We'll go to Cameron first.
$1 Million Baby.
And Joseph?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is correct. So that Joseph takes now the 4-2 lead. So we now get into your next question in the category of Westerns. Hell or High Water is set in what U.S. state? Best host in the game. Oh, thank you. Just a fun thing for y'all to pay attention at home. Whenever I look away at the screen when I start my countdown, it's because I'm ashamed of my banter that I did when I'm solo hosting. So watch out for that, I guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. We'll start with Joseph.
If you don't want to solo host, check if I'm available because I might want to help later. Texas.
And Cameron?
It's in the name of the bank. It would be weird. It wasn't Texas.
Texas is correct. All right. So your next question will come in the category of the 1970s. In The Wiz, what color are the slippers that Dorothy receives from Miss One? Don't reveal your secrets, King. Never change, Dylan. This is me reading the chat, by the way, in case you at home can't tell. A lot of positivity. I like this. This is cool, guys. You're making
It's
me feel
amazing how
better.
there's so many people backstage that couldn't go out with you.
It's fine. It's like I have an audience. It's cool. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, someone's dying in the private chat, apparently. Anyways, Cameron, I think. We'll go to Cameron.
It's one silver.
And Joseph?
It's one of Ruby.
Silver is correct. So with that, no more perfect rounds. Cameron cuts into the lead now, 5-4. So getting to your next question in the category of animation. What ability does Mumble lack that the other penguins have in Happy Feet? I remember watching this when I was a kid. First time watching it, I was like really bored, like really, really bored. And then I decided to watch it, I think like twice in the same weekend. I don't know why I did that. And then I just kind of kept watching it. My opinion on the movie never grew. Always found it boring. Kept watching it. 5.
I just remember thinking it was
4,
kind of terrifying
3,
when you see the real humans.
2, 1. Pens down. We'll go to Joseph.
I have a friend who says that he watched it every day when he was 12. Singing, and in parentheses, technically singing well.
Cameron.
I said singing, and in parentheses, I said singing good.
Both correct. Well done. All right. So then your final question around number 1 will come in the category of comedy. In Coming to America, what kind of business does Lisa's father, Cleo, own? And we're looking for a specific answer.
Can I ask for a quick clarification? This is the 80s version of Coming to America. This is not Coming to America.
Yes.
Okay.
I would assume so.
I had a
Peek
feeling,
behind the
but
curtain.
I just wanted to double check.
I haven't seen either. So there we go. But I'm pretty sure it's the original. 5. 4,
Is it spelled with the
3,
2, number 2, or is it
2.
just the T?
There's no 2. 1.
Okay.
Pens down. We'll go to Cameron first.
Fast food restaurant.
And Joseph.
I said barbershop.
Fast food restaurant is correct. So with that coming out of round number 1, we now have a tie game 6-6 as we get into round number 2, which will work like this. It is the wheel round. Each player will get a chance to spin the wheel, which will decide what category they will be answering questions in. If they don't like the category they spin the first time, they can spin the second time, but they must keep whatever it lands on then. 5 questions, each worth 2 points apiece, unless they check down a multiple choice, in which case it would be worth 1 point. Stealing is available in this round. Categories you can land on today are classic era actor filmography, which is Joseph's strength, as well as 21st century live action musicals, which is Cameron's strength, as well as the general categories of war, animation, music, romantic comedies, classics, westerns, and that's it. All right, so Joseph, you are the higher ranked player. Would you like to spin first or defer?
I will defer.
All right. So then, Cameron, this will be your first spin. If you land on the category of classics, would you like to keep that or spin again?
You know, I can tell you now a lot of actors who are in them, but that's a different category now, so I'll spin again.
All right. So then this will be the category that you must keep. And you must keep opponent's choice. I'm sorry. Joseph, what category would you like to give Cameron?
I'm between 2. I'm going to take a risk and say westerns.
All right. So then your first question in the category of westerns, Cameron, are you ready?
You know, this was not one of the 2 I figured he was between, so we'll see what happens.
All right, your first question. Who stars as Sue Barlow in Open Range?
Multiple choice.
Your options are A, Annette Bening, B, Joan Allen, C, Kim Basinger, or D, Renee Russo.
B.
B is unfortunately incorrect. Joseph, for the 1 point steal, is it A, Annette Bening, B, Joan Allen, C, Kim Basinger, or D, Renee Russo?
Annette Bening?
That is correct for the 1 point steal. Your second question, Cameron. What is Thomas Dunson attempting to transport to Missouri in 1948's Red River?
Multiple choice.
Right. Your options are A, guns, B, gold, C, dynamite, or D, cattle.
Okay, well, none of those are what I thought. Cattle.
That is correct for 1 point.
Cool.
Your third question. Where was Quick Mike when the Schofield kid shot him in Unforgiven?
In an outhouse.
That is correct for 2 points. So now your penultimate question in this category. Who directed the 1972 Western Jeremiah Johnson?
Multiple choice.
Your options are A, Arthur Penn, B, Robert Altman, C, Don Siegel, or D, Sidney Pollack.
D.
D is correct for 1 point. So now your final question in this category. In The Power of the Dog, Phil offers to make what for Peter as a gift?
Frick. It's one of two things, and they're both very similar. And I don't know if they'll both be there on multiple choice. A lasso?
That is correct for 2 points.
It's like it's either a whip or a lasso. I know it's leather.
All right, so with that, I now have the score at Cameron in the lead 12-7 as we now get into Joseph's first spin.
I'll take it.
Your first spin lands on the category of animation. Would you like to keep that or spin again?
I'll keep it, please.
All right. Then your first question in the category of animation. Are you ready?
Sure, please.
Right. What is the second animal that Victor brings back from the dead in Frankenweenie?
Just to be safe, multiple choice, please.
All right. Your options are A, turtle, B, fish, C, rat, or D, hamster. Five, four.
Repeat the options, please.
Sure. Your options again are A, a turtle, B, a fish, C, a rat, or D, a hamster.
A fish.
That is correct for 1 point. Your second question. What 2020's animated film features two feuding family clans, the Elingos and the Crumbs?
Okay, I thought this was 2019, but Klaus.
That is correct for 2 points.
Yeah, I'm gonna challenge. It's a 2019 film. It was nominated for films released in 2019 at the Oscars.
We'll be right back after this challenge.
Is that a challenge?
All right, so we're back from the challenge. Yeah, Cameron was 100% correct. That was a 2019 release. So we decided to scrap the question since the wording was wrong.
Yeah, Joseph said it
So
first.
Joseph was correct too. So anyways, we're scrapping the question, and we are gonna get a new question, and we're gonna move on. All right. So your next question, Joseph. What actor voices the Doctor? Sorry, let me try that again. What actor voices the Dr. Gouache that tries to save Kenny's life in South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut? Five.
Multiple choice, please.
Your options are A, George Clooney, B, Eric Idle, C, Matt Damon, or D, Brent Spiner.
George Clooney.
That is correct for 1 point. Excuse me. Your next question.
I almost said Eric Idle, but I'm like, no, that's the presenter, scientist guy.
Your next question. What 2000s animated film features a voice performance by Mr. T?
This is feature length, right?
Yes. 5.
Multiple choice, please.
Your options are A, Robots, B, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, C, Over the Hedge, or D, The Simpsons Movie.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
That is correct for 1 point. Your penultimate question in this category. In The Page Master, the book voiced by Whoopi Goldberg is named after what literary genre? Five, 4, 3.
Multiple choice, please.
Your options are A, adventure, B, sci-fi, C, horror, or D, fantasy. Five, 4, 3.
Fantasy.
That is correct for 1 point. So now your final question in this category. What kind of animal is Freddy, Otis's friend, in Barnyard? Five, 4, 3.
Multiple choice, please.
All right, your options are A, a ferret, B, a pig, C, a hen, or D, a dog. Five, 4, 3.
Repeat the whole thing, please.
All right, that is your first repeat. Your question again. What kind of animal is Freddy, Otis's friend, in Barnyard? And your options are A, a ferret, B, a pig, C, a hen, or D, a dog. Five, 4, 3.
A dog?
It's unfortunately incorrect. Cameron, for the 1 point steal, is it A, a ferret, B, a pig, C, a hen, or D, a dog?
Pig.
That is also incorrect. We were looking for a ferret.
Ah.
I thought he was the mouse until you read the options.
As did I. So then coming out of round number 2, I now have Cameron in the lead 12-11. Very close game as we get into round number 3, which will work like this. It is the pick your poison round. So we'll be going back and forth, drafting categories, starting with the player in the lead. Once a category is drafted, it cannot be drafted by your opponent. Once all categories are drafted, the player behind will answer questions until they take the lead. You'll choose which category you'd like for your 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we will go until there is a mathematical winner. The categories that they could choose from today are fandom, sci-fi/fantasy, coming of age/teen, biopics, 2010s, sports, animation, and 1970s. So we'll let them pick their categories right now, and we'll be right back. So we're back. The players have selected their categories. We will now start with Joseph since he is down by 1. So what category would you like for your 1-pointer?
I'm going to say coming of age.
All right. So your 1-point question in the category of coming of age/teen. Who directed The Breakfast Club?
John Hughes.
That is correct for 1 point. So we will now go over to Cameron Holzmann. What category would you like for your 1-pointer?
Sports.
All right. So your question in the category of sports. What sport does The Rookie center on?
Baseball.
Correct for 1 point. So back over to Joseph. Now, what category would you like for your 2-pointer?
'70s, please.
All right. Your question in the category of the 1970s. Who directed Network?
Sidney Lumet.
That is correct for 2 points. And the lead, so we will now go back over to Cameron. What would you like for your 2-pointer?
I'll take sci-fi fantasy.
All right. Your question in the category of sci-fi/fantasy. Daisy Ridley, Tom Holland, and Mads Mikkelsen all star in what 2021 sci-fi film?
Chaos Walking.
That is correct for 2 points. So now we will go back over to Joseph. You have the categories fandom and biopics remaining. What category would you like for your 3-pointer?
Am I that kind of guy? Let's see how this goes. Biopics.
All right. So your 3-pointer in the category of biopics. How does Elton John attempt suicide in Rocket Man?
Overdose on pills.
It's unfortunately incorrect. We were looking for drowning, specifically in his pool.
Can I challenge that he technically does try to overdose
Sure.
on pills?
Is that an official challenge?
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back after this challenge.
Is that a challenge?
All right. We're back from the challenge. A couple things at play here. It's might be a bit confusing, but basically this year we have a new thing where if you challenge, even if it's not something that you specifically brought up in the challenge, we try to look at all like aspects of the question to make sure that it's accurate and a fair question. And for one, Joseph was technically correct. There was a bit of gray area with the question there of whether or not Elton John was on drugs and like whether or not that was a part of his suicide attempt. So there's that. Also, Rocket Man was a part of Holzmann's Strength 21st Century Live Action Musicals. So basically, all that combined, we're scrapping the question. We have a new one here, so that Joseph will be asked a new 3-pointer in the category of biopics, which will be: at the beginning of Green Book, What job does Tony have before getting fired and becoming Dawn's driver? Five.
A bouncer?
That is correct for 3 points. All right, so now we are back over to Cameron. You have animation and 2010s left. What would you like for your 3-pointer?
We'll take 2010s.
All right. So your 3-point question in the category of the 2010s. How did Mal die in Inception? Or Mal? I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation.
She jumped to her death.
That is correct for 3 points. We had jumps from a tall building, but we did not say specifically.
I considered saying the Igor classic.
She does jump to her death.
Yeah.
We didn't need the
Impact
building
with
part.
the
It's fine.
ground.
All right, so now here is the situation that Joseph is in now. He has his 4-pointer in the category of fandom remaining. If he hits it, he will send it over to Cameron to hit his 4-pointer. If he misses, then Cameron will be the winner. So your question in the category of fandom. In what fandom film will you find a musical instrument that is called the Lady Rose? Five, 4, 3, 2.
Repeat, please.
Right, that is your second repeat. Your question again. In what fandom film will you find a musical instrument that is called the Lady Rose? Five, 4, 3, 2.
Repeat, please.
And that is your final repeat. So your question again. In what fandom film will you find a musical instrument that is called the Lady Rose? Five,
Okay.
4,
Again,
3,
Holzmann, you're a fantastic player.
1.
Howard the Duck.
And your winner, Cameron Holzmann. We were looking for the James Bond film, The Living Daylights. That's a good film.
Okay.
It's a cello, I believe. Anyways,
Yeah.
we'll put Cameron backstage for now, and we will get into post-match interviews. Someone put Cameron backstage. I don't have access to the StreamYard, guys.
You should. You really should.
I should, yes. Unfortunately, my computer can't handle it now. So, Joseph, you played a very solid game, 17 points, obviously a great score. I think it was just, in the end, some really tough animation questions. I think you clearly were confident in that category, some tougher questions than I think you would have expected. I think that was ultimately what was the deciding factor in a very, very close game. Otherwise, you guys completely matched each other in rounds 1 and 2. Going tit for tat, but it was just that 1 point difference. 1 point difference in round number 2 that was the deciding factor. So, how do you feel about your performance overall?
So the two things that I'm most disappointed were the ruby slippers or the silver slippers for the Wiz. I almost put silver because I was wondering, okay, why would they ask the Wiz instead of the Wizard of Oz? Is there a chance it's different than Ruby? But I thought maybe it's a trick question, so Ruby, but it's okay. We were still tied in round 1. Holzmann did way better than I thought he would in Westerns, being a Canadian. And I also think that, okay, so with me wanting to be in fandom this year, I was thinking like there's a chance like some of the deep cut fandom movies that I know might be there, or I could use deductive reasoning more or less. I was trying to go through the different categories of fandom to see what could it be in Lady Rose, and I couldn't get to James Bond quite yet. So that kind of maybe stumped. That stumped me more than I would have liked. But again, coming back, I was obviously very hungry for the belts. And as much as I'm happy about my match against David, there's a part of me that also was like kind of worried about the type of competitiveness that I would have had that I didn't want to use to negatively affect the game, if that makes sense. Like, I know I've seen some of my other matches and I am not proud of some of the attitude that I've had in there. So I'm gonna try to change things. Like, this match still is not like, it's disappointing to me, but I'm also overall good. I feel good about myself that the match was still close. Like, maybe it's a different type of strategy that I'm trying to do, but overall I feel good. I will say Igor needs to challenge Holzmann, like Holzmann called him out in the other match. So I called Holzmann out for Igor, and if he doesn't take Holzmann, I'm gonna come for Igor at some point. So that's just me in trying to be like I don't know. Those are my thoughts right now. Get Igor Holzmann, like you said you would.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm sure this is not the end of your season. You also still have a fantastic record of 9-4. I mean, we're definitely, I'm sure, going to see you back
10-4 because I beat David.
10-4. That's right. Yes. So when you return, is there anyone you'd be willing to play? This time, there might be no guarantee on whether or not you get to face them, but still, who would you like to play?
Yes. Yes, I realize that. I don't have any more grudges, I think, that I wanted to avenge.
Good.
I think like there's Kumite, but those guys are like monsters that I don't know if either of them are in singles this season. So like, I don't know, but I'm usually very down to face anybody. I will give them a hell of a game. So just be ready for me and I'll be ready for you.
Yeah, if there's one thing that's definitely come across with your callouts this season, it's that, yeah, you will definitely play anyone. So yeah, it's very interesting stuff. And we look forward to having you back. Thank you for coming out. We'll put you backstage for now, and we'll bring in first place finisher for this evening, Cameron Holzmann. Cameron, you were doubting yourself coming into it, but you kept it tied and coming out around number one. Despite being down by 2 points at one part, you were able to bring it back to a tie. Do very well in opponent's choice in a category that you didn't seem super confident in, but you got the right amount of points there. You got sixth, pretty solid, and you did everything you needed to do to just clinch the victory there. So how are you feeling?
I feel good. First things first, fantastic match, Joseph. Like, being within 1 point of each other basically at any given point, never having that much of a gap between us. Like, I'd rather win in a close match than have a blowout. This was a great challenge. Absolutely, like I was terrified coming to this. I heard about his match against David, heard that even just hearing that Joseph is back is scary. And then hearing that you have to play Joseph is scary. And then hearing that, like, he basically played a perfect game in his last match, from what I've come to understand, like, those things will terrify you. And then the strengths came in, and I was like, oh no. But I did my best to keep my head up as much as I could, try to keep the best going. Like, I took this seriously at every given point. I watched some classic movies because Joseph put classics on the wheel, and I watched After Earth and The Last Airbender because I hate myself.
But no, I feel very good about this. I'm very happy that I was able to win this. It feels good. I've had some bad luck in tournaments in recent years. And it's nice to be back making it to the semifinals at least. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely a massive win to have on your record, Joseph Olivas. I mean, that's pretty. Only 3 other people I believe have beaten him, so that's very, very impressive. And now we get to the fun part, which is who you want to play next, because obviously that's the whole point of this tournament. So we're not doing a separate video for the callouts this time, since there are so many it's limited options at this point. Wouldn't be worth making a 3-minute long video. So we have 5 different competitors here for you to rank on who you'd want to play the most. The competitors are Amaru Moses, Robert Kastner, Tony Durso, Jacoby Bancroft, and Nazario Montenegro. So out of those 5 competitors, which one would you want to play the most? And then give me the other 4 in order.
I've been going back and forth to and fro on this list since it got sent, since thinking about the possibility. I've played most of these people before. It's been a hot minute. I think my number 1 who I want to challenge coming out of this is gonna be Jacoby. I'm gonna put Jacoby at number 1. I think we played 4 years ago. 4 years ago at this point, I think 3 or I think.
Is he cutting out for everyone else or just me?
Am I back?
Yeah, run that back. What were you saying about
Jacoby?
Start
Over.
Yeah, go from. I want to play Jacoby because
Cool. Yeah, I want to play Jacoby. Jacoby's going to be my number 1. I think it'd be a fun match. I think he's a solid competitor. He's grown a lot over the past little bit, and I'd be interested to see how it goes. Number 2, I'm gonna say Rue. I think Rue would be very interesting to play. We've never played before. He hasn't been around in Melee singles for too long, so I think it'd be an interesting match. Number 3, I'll say Nazario. Played him 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's been a hot minute. We are very different people with very different tastes. Number 4, I'll say Kastner. Kastner is one of the worst losses I've had. And as much as I want my chance to avenge that, I also, like, when you lose to someone that bad, sometimes you don't want to go back there. And then last, I'll put Tony. I'll put Tony last. I think, like, we are just such opposite people, and he has strengths that will scare anyone. And so if that can be kept away, I'd appreciate it.
All right, sounds good. I like those callouts. This all sound very reasonable. Congrats again on the victory. We'll now put you backstage, and I will close this thing out as I always do, poorly. Thank you all for watching. This has been a fantastic match. Again, right down to the wire, back and forth, high scoring, everything you could want from a match. Solid performances all around. Joseph continues to prove that he is just as good of a player as he always was, hasn't lost his touch at all. And Cameron coming out with a very, very impressive victory, not having to answer his 4-pointer. Just keeping it close all the way through, toughing it out through a tough category in his own right in Westerns. Very impressive stuff. Very excited to see what he does moving forward. So thank you all for watching. I am Dylan. I didn't say that part. I'm Dylan. Nice to meet you. Thank you to the writers, showrunners, players, managers. They weren't here today. Writers, everyone. I said that already. Everyone who helps make the show what it is. Thank you. Bye. We'll see you later. Outro clip.
Goodbye. Later.
After you, Junior. You'll always have Paris.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work?
Bye.